The Gailey Show, the only daily LGBTQ progressive news and talk show in the United States. And no matter where you are from, Long Island to Abilene to northern Wisconsin to Seattle, we've got you here on the Gailey Show. If you're watching on YouTube, we're not actually in the studio. The signal is going out over AM 950's towers and going out over WCPT's towers, but I am in an undisclosed location, aka my basement. And Jim is also not in the studio today, but we're making it work. Life is happening, right, Jim?
That's right. It almost seems like we're together.
Yeah, totally. All right. At the bottom of the hour, the 2025 Chicago Journalist of the Year, Jake Wittich, will be joining us. He's got a lot of stories from Chicagoland to update us on. So we'll see him at 10:30 p.m. Central and Chicago itself. But let's start off with some interesting news happening on healthcare today. And just for folks who are like, y'all talk about healthcare a lot, we do talk about healthcare a lot on this show because about 1.2 million LGBTQ older adults are on Medicaid. A huge percentage of the 7 million that are on Medicaid nationwide. And about half of LGBTQ adults, so about 52%, say that it is difficult for them to afford their healthcare costs, that includes 1 in 5 who say it is very difficult to afford healthcare. And that is from May 2025 data from the KFF Health Tracking poll. And that is their poll on the experiences of LGBTQ adults when it comes to healthcare and healthcare affordability. So per the AP News today, 4 Republicans have broken with House Speaker Mike Johnson. They signed a Democrat-led petition that will force a vote on extending the tax credits for 3 years. This is exactly the policy that the Democrats shut down the government for. And now they are saying, we're going to try again here to get this done. So this is based off of just cleanly extending the tax credits, not trying to deal with major reforms to the Affordable Care Act. MAGA is countering, saying, well, we can't do that because there are such major flaws with the plan that we need to deal with that. Okay, well, everybody's health insurance costs are about to go up on January 1st. For some people, doubling or going up by 2.5 times of what they're paying this year. So the Republicans, it's very disingenuous for them to say, well, there's problems, but they've got, very few plans on the table besides, Rick Scott's plan, which is basically just give money to people and get rid of health insurance altogether.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a great plan.
It's important, and Rick Scott should never be taken seriously, but there's 2 of these 4 Republicans I want to point out.
I wanted to name them. Hang on, Jim. Hang on. Because I want to see if folks notice a trend about these 4 Republicans. So there is Representative Brian Fitzpatrick, who is from Pennsylvania. There is Representative Ryan McKenzie, who is from Pennsylvania. There is Representative Robert Bresnahan from Pennsylvania, and Representative Mike Lawler from New York. Now, remind me, Jim, because you track these numbers, is Pennsylvania a swing district in the United States?
Yeah, but I think it's less that. This is the point I was trying to make. 2 of those 3 Pennsylvanians are amongst the most vulnerable House members in the Republican contingent. They are...
Well, that's proving my point.
If you take the top 6 or 7, they are very likely to lose their seats anyway. The other fellow from Pennsylvania isn't necessarily guaranteed that, or the guy from New York, depending on how deep the Democratic victory goes. But 2 of them, you can almost lay money on the fact that they're going to lose their seats. So I think they were saying, everybody should go on the record. If you want to hurt, like I'm thinking of Tom Tiffany, he wants to be governor of Wisconsin. If you're going to hurt people outright, at least have enough of man's or a person with, nerve to say out loud, I'm hurting you deliberately. This is my choice to hurt you. And I think they're right. And I think the Democrats think this is not going to pass. But now these Republicans are on the record for not just allowing it to expire, which is very passive. They are actively responsible for harming your family on purpose. That's the point of
You
it, I
might not
think.
you might not know these numbers offhand. Is that so? Two of the Republicans in Pennsylvania are in danger of losing their seats. That third one, was his win above 13 points?
I can find that out. I don't know it off the top of my
While
head.
you're looking that up, I think for listeners and viewers who are like, why is that the magic number? That is the average overperformance of Democrats in 2025. So if you look at how they're doing in races compared to 2024, 2022, they are outperforming those by an average of 13 percentage points. So when you look at these districts and you see Republicans who lost by 12, 9, 3%, the likelihood of them holding on to their seats is minor right now compared to how people are voting. And that shows up again in an election result that we're going to have for you here in a second from Kentucky.
Well,
But
go ahead.
No, do you have the numbers?
Well, the most vulnerable of them is Ryan McKenzie. He won by little over a percentage point. So he's, he won by 4,000 votes. And Bresnahan was another one, and he won by, let me see, it's a little unstable, sorry. Bresnahan won by 1.6 percentage points, about 6,300 votes. So those two are the vulnerable ones. I'm looking for the other. What was the other fellow from Pennsylvania? Don't know.
Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick. Let me look for him. I haven't found him.
While you're looking that up, it is uncertain when the vote will happen. AP News is thinking that it could happen in January. When we saw the Epstein vote, this is how the Epstein vote happened, is when there was a discharge petition. All of the Democrats, along with a handful of Republicans, got 218 signatures, which is the magic number to force a vote on the floor. And so that vote happened pretty quickly after the discharge position. So I don't know why that vote would have to wait until January to happen. I think if the numbers were big enough, it would force the Senate, like the Epstein files vote did. Right now, they do not have the votes in the Senate to extend the ACA credits. They fell shy of that. I think it was like 52-48 when they tried this vote earlier this month. But essentially what is happening is that the Republicans are saying, hey, we don't like the Affordable Care Act, and we're not going to do anything to help you afford your healthcare insurance in January. So it's going to go up 1.5, 2 times, 2.5 times of what you're currently paying. And all we're going to say is the Affordable Care Act is broken, but we're not going to have any real solutions on the table while you're paying through the nose for your health insurance, when there is a very, very simple, easy fix for them to do. Jim?
Lawler won by 6%. He's from New York. And Fitzpatrick, this is ironic, won by 12.76%. So he's just under the 13% margin.
So all four of them are in danger here. And I just think it's very interesting that 3 of them are from Pennsylvania, one of the most potentially important swing state in the country by virtue of the number of electoral votes that it has. Wisconsin, our neighbor, is the swingiest of the swing states, but doesn't have the same amount of electoral votes. It's
but there are people that
this is the world that we live in, where people think that the MAGA is better for business and better for your pocketbook. And this is one of the major reasons why everybody supposedly, allegedly voted for them last year. But you never actually see that playing out in the data. Unemployment this week was just announced to be at a 4-year high.
It's
what they are very good at is controlling the media narrative about the economy. They don't actually have policies that make our lives better, economically speaking, but they're very good at complete control of the media narrative.
And the unemployment rate, I was going to say the unemployment rate when he took control for the second time was 4%. So it's definitely gone up. He's not, and a lot of that, at least half of that, has been layoffs by corporations, as you've talked about previously. But the other half of it is all the people that the idiot Elon Musk, another terrible business person, did when they fired hundreds of thousands of federal workers. So they've been doing this to themselves. Well, I shouldn't say that. They're doing it to you all and your families, and then saying, we're great business people. We're great for the economy. No, they're great for 7% of the population, which is
and this is is an example of this, egg prices were happening because of a massive flu among birds. This was a medical problem happening to chicken populations that was causing the prices to go up. But the Democrats and the Biden administration had zero media fluency to talk about that. And the Republicans didn't want you to know that it was about a bird epidemic that was going around. And, there were only a handful of grocery stores that I went to that actually put signs on their displays saying this is why the prices are so high, because they were so tired of people coming up to them and complaining, thinking it was the stores that were raising the prices. And so this is where, we need to see from progressives and from Democrats and for people who actually care about affordability and have policies on the table that can make things affordable for people. They need to be everywhere in the media next year. And we don't see that happening yet, I don't think. But we'll have to see how the year goes along. We were just talking about that report, Jim, you and I, from the DLCC, about how they're investing $50 million. But that is just chump change in terms of controlling the media. We are got to take a break here. When we come back, there is a special election result. It's special, but it was a special election in Kentucky last night for a state Senate district there. So we're going to tell you what happened there and how big the win was for the Democrat. You are listening to The Gailey Show on AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk where facts matter. More from us when we come back.
This December, Fortune's Pool Theater celebrates 20 years of creating theater in Minnesota with a free festival of Pirate Mayhem, featuring two irreverent R-rated musicals in repertory. Yar, the Lusty Busty Pirate Musical, and the world premiere, Have Yourself a Lusty Busty Xmas. 3 powerhouse women playing 20 roles, a live orchestra, hilarious songs, and sword fights. Don't miss the comic madness, closing December 21st at the Hive Collaborative in St. Paul. Tickets are free as our gift to you. Reserve at fortunespooltheater.org.
Hi, I'm Mary T. Caring for others runs deep in my family. My grandmother, Rosa, was a nurse who cared for people in their homes more than a century ago. Inspired by her compassion, my mother, Margaret, and I founded the Mary T. family of companies nearly 50 years ago. Today, we continue that legacy across Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maryland, and Arizona, providing senior living, assisted living with memory care, home health, hospice care, rental housing, and support for people with disabilities. Each service is personal, creative, and focuses on the unique needs of those we serve. We also believe in joy and community, which is why we opened Crooner Supper Club in Fridley, a place to celebrate life with music, laughter, and connection. At Mary T., we're proud to be a Minnesota family company rooted in compassion, inclusion, and respect, and proud supporters of AM 950 and the values that this station represents. Visit MaryTinc.com to learn more.
Congratulations to Mary T, named one of the most admired CEOs of 2026 by the Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal.
Hey there, I'm Beth from Big Hill Books in the charming Bryn Mawr neighborhood at 405 Penn Avenue South in Minneapolis. All December, we're observing Jólabókaflóð, Iceland's tradition of gifting new books on Christmas Eve. To celebrate, all children's books are 25% off the entire month of December. Gigi, our gentle shop dog, and our 2 shop cats promise to get you in the holiday spirit. Learn more at bighillbooks.com/events.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity and styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show. I am John Parker. We are coming up on the bottom of the hour, joined in our virtual studio today by my executive producer, Jim Pounds. All right, so there was a special election yesterday in Kentucky. It was for State Senate District 37, and the Democrat, Gary Clemens, won. Jim, do you already know the results?
I don't.
Okay. What was the percentage that the Democrat won by? Now, as a point of reference, in 2024, the Democratic candidate won this seat by 20 points. So how much yesterday did the Democratic candidate Gary Clemens win by?
Very blue seat, then. I'm going to say 30 points.
47 points. 72 to 25.
Democrats are getting, and independents are getting angry, and that's good.
State Senator-elect Gary Clemens is a South Louisville Union leader, as well as a U.S. Army veteran. I do want to say that it is an off year. Only 7% of the possible voters turned out yesterday. So that is a big, grain of salt. However, what it does show you is that who knew about the election and was motivated enough to get out and go to that election. And so for me, that's where I'm like, oh, okay, that number is pretty significant in my mind.
Yeah, that's a big shift. I mean, I think you're right. 7% is not a great turnout, but if we're the ones that are motivated, as we will be in Texas when they finally have that runoff between two Democrats to finalize that U.S. House seat and give us our 214th, I believe, seat. It'll be great to see what the turnout is for that. I don't know if you call it a race. The two highest vote getters were Democrats. So now they have to have a runoff between two Democrats. It's kind of ridiculous, like everything else in Texas. But anyway, that's going to happen in the month of January, and that'll give us one more seat in the U.S. House. So we're slowly crawling back to our 215. I think we're at 213 right now. It'll be 214 in January.
Right. I also want to, let's take a look at some LGBTQ headlines from around the globe. I want to head over to an article by Ben Jodway at the Buckeye Flame. This is a follow-up to an election that happened, specific election that happened in November, on November 4th, where the headline is rural Ohio trans candidate nearly drops out of race after being targeted online, wins seat in Republican stronghold. So the sub-headline is Amy Hutemaker pledges to heal political divide in her rural Ohio township. So the county is Geauga County, Geauga County. And it was for a township trustee seat. And Amy Hutemaker prevailed in an election that was about 800 votes were cast, so a smaller county. And they're looking into this, but according to the reporter, Ben Jodway, Hutemaker is possibly the first trans elected official in Ohio in a municipal government election.
Wow. That is significant, and obviously congratulations. And I that's not going to be an easy road to hoe, but that's important symbolically, I think.
Yes. Yes. It just also shows you that when, we get out and we run, we can win, even in Republican strongholds. I want to turn to an article. This should have been seen coming because they do it all the time now. This is in Pink News, written by Chantel Bilson. The headline is, "No, late director Rob Reiner's son, Nick, is not transgender."
Oh boy.
So they have been doing this, they being MAGA and the far right, aided and abetted by the center-right Republicans, claiming all the time that when there is any violence in this country, any type of shooting, that the person, the perpetrator, is trans. And this was coming from a Facebook post from Jonathan Gregory, who has about 80,000 followers, and claiming that Nick Reiner, Rob Reiner's son, was beginning to transition to a woman, and that was part of the reason why he allegedly attacked and killed his parents. Yeah, so again, not true. Not true. But here, this is a, Facebook post that the profile listed as comedy, right? So it's all joke.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't take a joke. You can't take a
Right,
joke.
right.
But in the intro, according to this reporting on Pink News from reporter Chantel Bilson, according to the profile page intro, it's listed as a digital content creator for the Trump administration.
Boy, that's bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with a cat who got her toe caught. Sorry.
So there's that story, and it just, it doesn't surprise me that it's happening on Facebook, where you can go on there and call all gay people mentally ill. You can see that that's happening here. This is users doing what Facebook says that you can do specifically in their user policies. And also included in these user policies is that you can go around and say that your wife or your girlfriend or your daughter, your granddaughter is your property. They are your property. You can say that. Like, Facebook went in there and specifically found that phrase to say, here, users, this is what you can say.
Of
Women
all the
are
things,
property of
all
men.
the things. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I mean, of 100 terrible things you could say, that's an example they gave. It says terrible things about Mark Zuckerberg. I'll tell you that. Really terrible things. Wow. And for people that work there, why would you want to work at a place like that for somebody like that? I hope they have.
I do want to get to
wholesale
I want to get to a final story because we're coming up on the end of our segment here. So this is also from Pink News. The reporter is Sophie Perry. The headline is, "Florida City sets up rainbow bike racks after being forced to remove pride crossings." So interesting creativity here. So they have photos of bike racks that are at an intersection, and they just painted them all in rainbow colors. And that is very interesting. It is in Miami Beach. Sorry, I was looking down here for the location. And so they put out rainbow bike racks. And I think, sorry, what I was thinking about there is that in Texas, a church right across the street from where the Texas government had ripped out a rainbow crosswalk, the church painted their steps up to the entrance in rainbow colors. So we're creative. We are creative. All right, we are going to take another break here. When we come back, we're going to have the managing editor of Windy City Times, Jake Wittich, who is also the 2025 Chicago Journalist of the Year, as named by the Chicago Journalists Association. He has some award-winning reporting to share with us. You're listening to The Gailey Show.
This is Santita Jackson, Minneapolis, St. Paul. I couldn't be more excited about starting our days together, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. Central on the Progressive Voice of Minnesota.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates.
Hello.
Hey, Jake. Jim and I are on location.
Virtual. Yeah.
We're on location today. I wanted to ask you, we're still live on YouTube, so everyone can still hear this. I'm wondering, in terms of the order of the stories, could we start with the Pritzker story?
Yeah,
and
totally.
then do the case, the crash case on I-90. And then we can go into, would you rather do the t-shirt fundraiser after that or dining out?
I have more to say about dining out, but the t-shirt is probably a better hook. So
okay.
I talked about dining out before, so let's do the t-shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you? I can't remember.
On the unpack this, I touched on it at the end.
Oh, yes. Sorry,
Yeah.
everything is running together, particularly today. Okay, so I will take. Well, you know what? I'm going to leave it there in case we have time. We can revisit.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Okie dokie. Well, you should be hearing the feed here back in a second, and in the private chat, I'll put how much longer we've got. It looks like we've got about just over a minute before we come back.
Okay, solid.
Against demand for the third year in a row. Celebrate the holidays with Open Eye Theater now through December 28th. Bring your friends, bring your festive spirit, and leave your figgy pudding at home. Christmas can be a drag in the best way. Tickets at openeyetheater.org.
This season, bring the whole family to see Irving Berlin's White Christmas. This smash hit musical based on the classic film returns by popular demand to delight you at Chanhassen dinner theaters. With loads of laughter and a stunning showcase of Irving Berlin songs, White Christmas is a celebration of the romance, friendship, and magic of the holidays. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Best seats available in January and through the closing date of February 7th.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 35. Tonight, a mix of rain and snow with a low around 33. And Thursday, some light snow and wind with a temp falling to 16. Cafe Lattes Bakery is a local favorite for fresh baked treats, cupcakes, and breads, all made without artificial ingredients. Because a cafe latte, ingredients matter. Find them off Victoria and Grand in St. Paul. And for takeout or reservations, visit cafelatte.com. AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Coming to you from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Welcome back to the Gailey Show. If you were watching on YouTube, you saw our unofficial mascot, Buffy, a British blue kitty cat, who is our unofficial mascot.
She hears your voice and she wants to get at you, but I can't.
But don't tell that to Mia, the president of AM 950's absolutely adorable little dog, because we are BFFs as well. So maybe we can have two mascots going on there. But it is 33 minutes after the hour, also live streaming on our YouTube channel. Click subscribe there and leave us a comment. We want to know what you want the Gailey Show to be covering in 2026. So leave us a comment. There's a lot to be talking about. Obviously, healthcare, obviously the election will be big stories that we will be covering. But what is important to you? Put a comment in this video or any of our videos. We're tracking them so that we can see what you'd like us to cover in 2026. Okay. Windy City Times has been the voice of Chicago's. Okay. Windy City, let's just start right over again. Folks, it has been a day. Windy City Times has been the voice of Chicago's LGBTQ plus community since 1985. This year marks the news outlet's 40th anniversary of uplifting queer stories, reporting with pride, and chronicling LGBTQ plus history. Visit windycitytimes.com/newsletters to sign up for the publication's weekly LGBTQ plus news updates. And as someone who does that, I can tell you, They're very amazing. Very good. Jake Wittich is managing editor of Windy City Times, where he reports in-depth stories on Chicago's LGBTQ plus community and oversees the publication's growing newsletter operation. And the Chicago Journalists Association named him the 2025 Journalist of the Year. He joins us bi-weekly on Wednesdays to share his award-winning reporting. Jake, it's good to see you again.
Hello, hello.
Okay, so big story coming out of Illinois is the Equality for Every Family Act. Can you tell us the breaking news, as it were, related to that?
Of course. So the Equality for Every Family Act is a piece of legislation that's going to advance equality for every family, especially LGBTQ plus ones. And this has been in the works for quite some time. And basically what it does is it modernizes the state parentage law so that all parents, including same-sex couples and non-binary parents, can receive equitable legal recognition. Some key changes in this law is it really streamlines the voluntary acknowledgement of parentage at birth without requiring like a legal action in court. And supporters said it really addresses gaps that once forced families into costly or uncertain legal processes. It relieves them of that. So it's a major victory here in Illinois. It was just signed by our governor, J.B. Pritzker. He's signed a lot of legislation advancing LGBTQ plus rights in Illinois. So this is just the latest. And it's gotten a lot of praise from community groups.
Do we know what the, do you happen to know offhand, if you don't have the number, that's okay, the majorities of how it passed through the vote totals?
I'm not too sure, but I do know it goes into effect immediately with like the structural changes going into effect January 1st. So that's literally in a couple weeks. So pretty cool to see this happen so quickly. Iggy Ladin, they are the executive director of the Chicago Therapy Collective, which is a trans-led organization here in Chicago that advances mental health for all people, but especially LGBTQ plus people. Iggy was kind of instrumental in getting this law passed by just sharing their own experience as a parent, being non-binary, being told that they couldn't be recognized as a parent because of their gender identity and things like that. So by Iggy sharing their story, it really convinced lawmakers the importance of this law. So.
Thank you for sharing that part of the story as well, because I think that, when we look at the national political landscape right now, particularly as Democrats are trying to line up for who's going to be the nominee in 2028, you have Governor Newsom out there trying to rehabilitate his image, saying, well, I've signed more pro-trans legislation than any other governor in the country. And I'm like, okay, you're digging yourself a grave here, dude, because it's not you that's going around doing this. It's the folks like you just talked about, Jake, who are getting this work, who are in the trenches, who are writing it and working and building coalitions to get this done. We watch the governors to see, where do they stand on the particular issue. But it's the folks like you just mentioned who are doing the real work of, researching the issues and figuring out what's going on and then putting forward legislation that does help every family.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Pritzker's role is just the signature to pass the bill. I'm sure they had discussions with his office as they were developing this, but it was the community organizations like the Chicago Therapy Collective, Equality Illinois. They partnered with state legislators to draft this bill. So like you said, there's a lot of work that's done at the grassroots level before it even reaches the governor. So yeah, you're right.
Did you have other reactions to the passage of the bill that you'd like to share with us?
I feel like that's kind of about it. GLAAD's law director of family advocacy celebrated the law. We had experts from University of UC Davis, again, talking about how it just advances equality. So overall, it's been really welcomed by community groups and experts.
And the fact that
Fantastic.
you passed this now with all the negative stuff going, to me, that's, Newsom's like, don't bring me any more trans stuff. But here Pritzker signed and the Illinois legislature advanced pieces of legislation that is pro-LGBT.
Yeah.
With all this negativity going on, I just think it's fantastic. So,
going back to Newsom, it might have been Erin in the morning. She did like a fact check on his claim that he's passed more pro-trans laws than any governor. And like, there's nuance to it. You look at what he's declined to sign this year, and there does seem to be a shift there. So, yeah.
Well, and to first of all, highlight Aaron in the Morning. Y'all need to be subscribing to Aaron in the Morning. It's an amazing newsletter on Substack. You can read it on Substack. You can also get it into your email, which is how I have it set up. But what Jim was just mentioning is LGBTQ Nation reporting in January that the governor had sent his chief of staff, or either chief of staff or other leaders within his office, to the California legislature to say, please stop sending me pro-LGBTQ legislation and trans bills. So that is on the record, but not enough people know that. That was excellent reporting from LGBTQ Nation, and more people need to know about that. And then it's quickly followed up in May when he zeroed out all LGBTQ funding in his budget, and the legislature had to put it back in. Anyway, it is great to see a state like Illinois and a governor like Governor Pritzker, who continues to be consistent in his record. But something I'm glad that we were talking about this bill is that Illinois is one of those states that serves as a model for other states in the union of, here's legislation that you can use in Wisconsin, in Massachusetts, in New York, in Jersey, in Minnesota. And so I'm really glad that we're being able to highlight that and that you are covering that for us.
Thank you. I think it's also a model for how states and just governments can tackle LGBTQ issues head on, rather than maybe avoiding them by saying, don't send these bills to my desk. The bottom line is LGBTQ issues aren't going anywhere. We're always going to be affected by things, and they're always going to come up. And Republicans are going to do a good job of making sure, look at some of the anti-trans legislation that now it might not pass, but we're going to get a litmus test on how each legislator is going to vote on this in Congress. And it's going to come up. So it's better to be prepared and address it head on in a way that wins people over.
Exactly. Okay, this is an interesting story, if I may transition to this one. The headline is Gay Couple Wins $104 million I-90 crash case. And you sent me the headline this morning, and I was like, say what now? So let's unpack this for me. What is the crash case? I'm assuming a crash happened on I-90.
Yes. So there's a gay couple, and in 2016, they were in a limo heading to the airport with another couple, their friends. They were going on vacation to Mexico. And unfortunately, there was like a median. I don't drive. I don't even have a car. So I might mess up the language. But on I-90, it was a really horrible crash. They hit the barricade. The limousine flipped over. Unfortunately, one of their friends did lose their life in this crash.
Oh my God.
And one of the gay men, he was paralyzed from the neck down. So just an awful, awful situation. And they sued the Illinois Tollway that manages that part of the I-90, because there were a lot of steps that should have been taken. Like, there were supposed to be several warning signs about this zone. It was like a construction area, and they only had one posted. So it went back and forth. It eventually reached a jury, and the jury awarded $104 million to the couple that was injured in this case. And it could be the first catastrophic injury case in Illinois where a civil union was treated like a marriage when it comes to loss of consortium damages.
Wow.
And that's really significant because this crash happened in 2016, which was not too long after marriage equality was passed nationwide. They were living in Wisconsin. I don't know the exact date if Wisconsin had legalized same-sex marriage sooner than that, but to have their relationship recognized as a marriage. After the crash happened, they got married in the hospital. They were planning on getting married anyway, but it's really significant to have, and it could set a standard now that civil unions must be recognized in this. So,
wow.
Well, I want to apologize for my lightheartedness introing that segment. That's a
same. I was like, wait, I need to shift my tone. Yeah.
That was, my apologies there. That is, so I believe the case of Obergefell was in 2015. I don't know, Jim, do you know offhand when Wisconsin, I think Wisconsin was one of those that was forced to after Obergefell, the Supreme Court decision came through. But that is 9 years later that they've been fighting this case.
Almost a decade.
But I mean, as opposed to suing the limousine company or something, they said it was bad signage or lack of something the state had done, right? The state had failed to protect people by having signage that told them what was going on.
Exactly. And, the headline mentions this as a gay couple. I got a lot of comments that were like, why does it matter that they're gay? And like, to address that, part of it is I am an LGBTQ newspaper. I'm not going to write about any crash. So I have that hook in there to explain why we're covering this. But then also it is significant because their relationship was recognized as a civil union, which was a unique experience for same-sex couples at the time. So
do you think straight people get enough coverage already? Or are they?
I'm probably not in my newsroom, but
well, and I think, to your point there, I'll be very curious to see how the precedent now works moving forward. Because I would also expect, if the Supreme Court takes down Obergefell, that all the laws will still be on the books. Like, it'll still be legal in Illinois, gay marriage, and those rights and protections will be there. So it is very clearly history making case, setting precedent.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't have like the exact record, but it could be the largest verdict or amount of money ever awarded to a same-sex couple in U.S. history. So definitely precedent setting.
Wow. That is, well, I mean, not an outcome that we would all have hoped for. We'd rather that they would be healthy and that the limo would have, gotten to its destination. But I am glad that they are able to have a victory in the case, I guess.
And now they have the money for the care that they deserve, the long-term care.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly, which will be significant. There is a story that I want to get to. Your next story here, T-shirt fundraiser launches to support drag icon Joan Jett Blakk. However, we just have under a minute left to go, so I don't want to get into that just yet. We're going to take a break. We're going to have more with Jake Wittich, managing editor of Windy City Times. When we come back to read these stories and more from Jake, you can go to windycitytimes.com. And before we head out, I want to remind folks about our GLAAD Media Award nominated podcast, This Queer Book Saved My Life. On that podcast, I interview LGBTQ folks about a life-saving book or a queer book that had a life-saving impact for them. And when the author is available, we bring them in to have a conversation about what it took to write that book and get it out into the world and its impact on them as they were writing it. You can stream This Queer Book everywhere that you get your podcasts or at thisqueerbook.com. You listen to The Gaily Show. More after this very quick break.
Let Next Chapter Booksellers help you with your holiday shopping. Next Chapter Booksellers has the perfect gift ideas. Books make for easy, thoughtful gifts that are a breeze to wrap and ship. And if you're not sure what book to get, the friendly staff at Next Chapter Booksellers are great at recommendations for any age and taste. Explore their wide selection of puzzles and games for interactive family fun. And if you're still stumped, then try a Next Chapter Booksellers gift card. That's Next Chapter Booksellers in St. Paul, your destination for easy-to-give gifts.
Across this country, LGBTQ rights are under threat. This is a struggle that the LGBTQ community knows all too well. Since 1987, Outfront Minnesota has been fighting for LGBTQ rights and protections here at home, and this work is needed now more than ever. Hard-fought wins here in the state of Minnesota are at risk, from the ban on the harmful practice of conversion therapy that passed in 2023 to transgender protection secured in our State Human Rights Act in 1993, and even national recognition of our same-sex marriage protections that we secured in 2013 are at risk. Outfront Minnesota has helped Minnesota become a national leader in LGBTQ rights, and they will hold the line to make sure we don't lose what we've gained. But they need you. Now is the time to step up and support Outfront Minnesota and LGBTQ rights here in our state. Outfront Minnesota needs your financial support today to strengthen LGBTQ protections at home, at school, and at the state capitol. Learn more and make your gift at outfront.org/give. That's outfront.org/give.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. But I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had, made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Is your home ready for the holidays? 'Tis the season to be jolly, and nothing makes me jollier than a clean home. Maybe you breathed a sigh of relief that Thanksgiving wasn't at your house this year, but now you're realizing you are going to be hosting something in December and your home isn't ready. But don't worry, there's time to call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to come out and get things in order before your friends and family come over. Zero Res can take care of any surface in your home, from tiles, carpets, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, and more. Don't DIY it. Call Zero Res because you know they're safe and effective. They have a 4.9 rating on Google Reviews with over 21,000 satisfied customers. Go ahead and get clean and don't miss this deal. Call Zero Res right now, 9520-RES, or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Spots are filling up fast, so don't wait. Lock yours in today. Happy holidays from all of us at Zero Res. Backward or forward spells the same.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show. We are coming up on the top of the hour. I am John Parker, joined in a virtual studio by my executive producer, Jim Pounds, managing editor of Windy City Times, and the 2025 Chicago Journalist of the Year, Jake Wittich, joins us bi-weekly on Wednesdays to share his award-winning journalism. Jake, here's a story that I want to know more about. T-shirt fundraiser to support drag icon Joan Jett Blakk. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I'll start by sharing a little bit about who Joan Jett Blakk is for people who aren't familiar. She is a trailblazing drag performer, activist, and political figure who is best known as the very first drag queen to run for president when she made that bid in 1992. Wow. Yeah, and she has ties to Chicago, which I'll get to, but she was an activist here in Chicago and she ran for president. So really cool, but she is in need of help right now. So there's an opportunity for the community to rally around Joan Jett Blakk. And basically she recently suffered a major stroke and now she's going to require lifelong care going forward. So so there's a GoFundMe. If you go to wittycitytimes.com and search for this article, I linked to the GoFundMe, but there's also a t-shirt that's being sold that has, I just ordered it today, actually. It has her campaign photo, and then on the back, it's a quote from Joan Jett Blakk that says, "A vote for Joan Jett Blakk is a vote for total anarchy." It's it's a really cool shirt. And you know, her campaign was satirical but deeply political. She used her drag to challenge power, visibility, and exclusion in American politics. I think she might have even snuck into DNC around that time to make a statement. Chicago activists helped her do that. So it's a cool shirt that nods to the history of Joan Jett Blakk while also supporting her future. So really cool. WindyCityTimes.com, search for the article and buy that shirt. So yeah. For real. I did not. I want to go look up the history of this now, because that's amazing. Particularly at that time period, to be running for president when you have the HIV pandemic. Yeah, really cool. I think, I can't remember the outlet, but when the DNC recently happened in Chicago, someone did a retrospective of Joan Jett Blakk, and her run for president. As I've said it several times, she has ties to Chicago. She ran her campaign out of our city. She was a founding member of Queer Nation Chicago, which was an activist organization. And she was really at the center of the city's early 1990s LGBTQ plus activist movement. So, yeah. Wow. That's fantastic. Yeah. And I mean, I'm sad. That's fantastic to know that history. I am sad that that she's experiencing this in terms of healthcare and needing, what the treatment that she needs now. But I think this is just what a great t-shirt to have and to gift to a queer loved one for the holidays. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So that was a nudge, Jim. Right. I wanted to get your
If you wanted to get your star,
write it down.
like a T-shirt, it could be it's for the show. It's for the show,
Yeah,
right?
they're on sale through January 4th. So time is ticking, but the GoFundMe will always be there. It's really heartwarming to see the community rally behind Joan right now. The GoFundMe has raised thousands of dollars. This shirt is a grassroots movement. So really, really heartwarming that people are supporting the ones who blaze the trail so that we can live the lives we have today. So
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, I know we talked about this a little last week when we got to have you for a full hour. Thank you again for sharing that time. If you all missed that episode, it was really, Jake shared some really insightful takes into journalism right now in the time of MAGA, but also like tactics of how he goes about sourcing stories and reporting on stories.
A little behind the scenes.
The behind the scenes of what it means to do queer journalism in 2025, headed into 2026. All the more so important because recognized by the Chicago Journalists Association as Journalist of the Year. So it was really great to have that. I don't know if it was an exclusive, but it was a lovely episode to unpack all of that with you. So folks, you can go to our YouTube channel to watch it or stream it everywhere that you get your podcast. We talked about the story a little bit about the dining out traces century of queer restaurants, and it started in Chicago. We've got just about about 90 seconds left. Do you want to give us a little bit more about that story?
Yeah, Eric Piepenburg, he's a New York Times columnist, and he wanted to trace the history of queer restaurants in America. We talk a lot about queer bars, but restaurants are unique because you can cry at a restaurant. You can, there's a lot of intimacy that happens at restaurants that you don't get at a gay club. So it's an awesome book. We were talking about holiday gifts. This is a great one. I would search dining out on windycitytimes.com and we link to the store. It's also on Amazon for cheap, or affordable. It's a great book. So definitely recommend it.
I should remember this because I've looked at it. It's like a coffee table picture book, right?
Oh,
is it? Or is it
there's words. Yeah. A little more traditional paperback, but it does have visuals in it,
Okay, good. It is, there's so much of our history that is disappearing, and I feel like we're very much an oral culture, you know what I mean? So you could be in Chicago and hear the story of a particular restaurant, but no one took the time to write about it.
Exactly.
Or the same thing here in Minneapolis. And so I think it's so important. If there's something that you're wondering, what can I do in 2025? Document. Document. Even if it's just documenting the stories that you're hearing from a queer elder or, a person who's lived in a neighborhood for a really long time and is like, hey, you remember that cafe? It was owned by a, lesbian couple for 25 years before it shut down in 2008. That is so important to be doing right now. Okay, head to windycitytimes.com to read these stories and more by Jake. We have link in our show notes and on our website. The next time that we're going to see you, Jake, you will be guest hosting the Gala Show on December 30th. Jim and I will be off for that day. We're very grateful that we can be off because you're going to be guest hosting for us, and I can't wait to hear and see what you'll have for us.
Yeah, I'm excited. So still producing,
Good. That's going to be exciting. All right, folks. Up next on WCPT 820 is Democracy Now! Rather on AM 950. It is the Matt McNeil Show. Stay tuned after that for Native Roots Radio. And then at 10 p.m. Central, Step Into the Unknown with Greg Bakken on Ghost Box Radio. And until this time tomorrow, keep it queer, America.
Keep it queer.
In today's uncertain times, woodland stoves and fire